A perfect illusion. Ryan had everything: a successful business, a luxurious home, and a wife he adored. Olivia was his world. She was stunning, intelligent, and supportive. For 5 years, he believed they were the perfect couple. But perfection is just an illusion. One evening, Ryan returned home earlier than usual. The house was quiet, too quiet. A half-finished glass of wine sat on the kitchen counter, next to Olivia's phone. She never left her phone anywhere. His chest tightened. Then he heard a notification. His eyes flicked to the screen. A message popped up. "I can't wait to see you tonight. He won't suspect a thing." Red heart. His world shattered. Ryan felt his heart hammering in his chest. His hands trembled as he picked up Olivia's phone. He scrolled through the messages, his vision blurring with rage and disbelief. The name on the contact was just a single letter: J. J. Who the hell was J? He clenched his jaw and scrolled further. The messages painted a picture of a secret life, hidden right under his nose. Dinners, hotel rooms, whispered promises of a future together. A cold numbness crept over him. His Olivia, the woman he built a life with, was planning a future without him. The front door clicked open. He snapped his head up as Olivia walked in, a smile on her face, until she saw what he was holding. Her face drained of color. "Ryan. I can explain." Ryan let out a cold chuckle, shaking his head as he turned the phone toward her. "Explain? Oh, please, Olivia. I'd love to hear it. Who the hell is Jay?" She took a step forward, her hands trembling. "Ryan, it's not what you think. Not what I think." His voice was sharp, bitter. "So you're not sneaking around with some guy? You're not booking hotels behind my back?" She opened her mouth but hesitated, just for a second. That second was enough. "You know what?" Ryan threw the phone onto the couch, rubbing his face in frustration. "I don't even care what pathetic excuse you have." Tears welled up in Olivia's eyes. "I was going to tell you. I swear." Ryan let out a dry laugh. "Yeah? Before or after you ran off with him?" A long silence stretched between them. Olivia lowered her gaze. That was all the confirmation he needed. Ryan clenched his jaw, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. "How long?" His voice was low, almost too calm. Olivia swallowed hard. "Ryan, please." "How long?" He cut her off, his stare piercing through her. A tear rolled down her cheek. 6 months. She whispered. Ryan exhaled sharply, stepping back as if the air around her was toxic. 6 months. Half a year of lies, sneaking around, fake smiles, and empty I love yous. His stomach churned. And I was just, what? A backup? A safety net? No. Olivia reached for his hand, but he pulled away like her touch burned. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Olivia? His voice cracked. Because from where I'm standing, you threw away 5 years for some guy who probably doesn't even love you. She sobbed, shaking her head. I made a mistake. Ryan laughed bitterly. Yeah? Well, so did I, thinking you were the love of my life. He grabbed his keys from the table, his decision made. You can have him, Olivia. Hope he was worth it. And with that, he walked out the door. Olivia stood frozen, the sound of the door slamming shut echoing through the empty apartment. Her breath hitched as reality sank in. He was gone. She rushed to the window, hoping, praying he'd hesitate, look back. But Ryan was already at his car, fists clenched at his sides. His chest rose and fell with deep, heavy breaths. For a moment, she thought he might break, might give her one last chance. But then, he got in. The engine roared to life, red taillights glowing like a final goodbye. And then, just like that, he was gone. Olivia collapsed onto the floor, gripping her knees as sobs racked her body. She had ruined everything. Ryan's hands tightened around the steering wheel, his knuckles turning white. His vision blurred as city lights streaked past. 6 months. How had he been so blind? How had he not seen the signs? His phone buzzed on the passenger seat. He glanced down. Olivia, 3 missed calls. He scoffed, shaking his head. Not this time. Instead, he tapped a different name. One he hadn't thought about in years. The line rang once. Twice. Then a familiar voice answered. Ryan? His grip loosened just a little. Hey, it's been a while. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then, a soft chuckle. Didn't think I'd hear from you again. Ryan exhaled, his chest feeling lighter for the first time in weeks. Yeah, me neither. They talked. At first, it was cautious, careful, 2 people navigating the ruins of the past. But then, laughter slipped through, and memories resurfaced, untainted by pain. Meanwhile, Olivia stared at her phone, tears rolling down her cheeks as Ryan's silence gave her the answer she feared most. He wasn't coming back. And this time, she was the one left behind. Ending. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then, a soft chuckle. Didn't think I'd hear from you again. Ryan exhaled, his chest feeling lighter for the first time in weeks. Yeah, me neither. They talked. At first, it was cautious, careful, 2 people navigating the ruins of the past. But then, laughter slipped through, and memories resurfaced, untainted by pain. It was strange, almost surreal, how time had softened the edges of their history. By the end of the call, Ryan felt something he hadn't in a long time, peace. He stepped outside, breathing in the cold night air. A new chapter was waiting. He wasn't sure what it held, but for the first time in forever, he was ready to turn the page. Meanwhile, Olivia sat alone in her dimly lit apartment, staring at her phone. She had been so sure he'd come crawling back, that he'd beg for another chance. But the silence that followed told her everything she needed to know. He had moved on. A bitter laugh escaped her lips. She had won every argument, controlled every situation. Yet, in the end, she had lost the one thing that truly mattered. As Ryan drove away into the night, Olivia realized the cruelest truth of all: regret always comes too late.